One of the biggest problems right now for people in this housing market is people are just tired of waiting, okay? You have people that have been waiting on the sidelines to buy a home for maybe a year, maybe longer, and they're just tired of waiting. And so today I have a very special guest on the channel. I have Travis from Real Estate Mindset here. He's going to help us kind of navigate this because he personally is actually in this situation. So I want you guys to hear this from somebody else who's actually going through this, and maybe it'll shine some light on the situation and help you figure out if you should continue renting, if you should maybe buy a house now, what should you do? So Travis, thanks for being on the channel, man. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man, of course. And you guys, we're gonna try to get through this video. It is raining right now. It's like Cat 1 hurricane winds. But I wanted to tell you guys a little bit of my background so you know what qualifies me to even talk about this situation. Now, during the 2009 Great Financial Crisis, I myself, unfortunately, and this was as a result of my bad decisions, I had a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, a repo, and a tax lien as a result of the foreclosure for over $100,000. That followed me around for 9 years because the statute of limitations was extended as a result of the bankruptcy. But here's the thing, you guys. Fast forward to today, I've been a realtor for about 12, 13 years. I've been a loan officer for 21 years, and I teach realtors continuing education. So I'm in real estate all the time, and I absolutely love it. Now, having said that, I've personally decided to convert my primary residence into a rental. I have a 2.5% on that house. Now, instead of me repurchasing, I decided to sit out the toxic housing market and rent. And I just wanted to encourage, the people that are doing that same thing, that are renting, that are waiting this out, stay encouraged, stay patient, and keep following the data. I've made offers in 2021, 2022, and 2023, but the thing is, Michael, I will not settle on the biggest transaction of my life. I am not rich. I don't have the option to make a bad decision. And so as I'm renting, I'm getting paid to rent, man. I probably make, just from the inflation, $600 to $700 per month, renting. Not to mention it's 52% more expensive right now to own. And that's on top of the fact that you need a, $70,000, $80,000 down payment.
So wait, let's back this up for a second. You said you're making $600, $700 a month by renting. Explain to everybody what you mean by that and how you're making that money as a renter and not owning a home.
Yes, okay, so I've taken my down payment. So I have my down payment saved. You guys, I am ready to pounce. I'm ready to close tomorrow. If I find the home of my dreams tomorrow, I'm gonna make an offer and hopefully close. But I've taken my down payment, and instead of locking it up for long term, I've invested almost my entire down payment in 1 month treasuries. So my 1 month treasuries for my down payment is yielding me anywhere from about $350 to $400. And I'm not doing anything, Michael. I just set it up automatically through Treasury Direct. So when the asset matures, it just reinvests.
Right.
And it's just automatic. But on top of that, brother, have you seen the interest rates on these credit cards? Oh my gosh. So what I'm doing is, on any purchases that I make through Amazon, I don't know if you've ever heard of Amazon, right? Like the entire nation shops on Amazon. I got a brand new Amazon credit card where I'm getting 5% cash back. Now, my main credit card that I've switched to, that I put all of my purchasing on, gives me a minimum of 2% cash back. Now, the key is this, and here's where this could be a dangerous game if you're not responsible. The key is to pay the balance off of your credit card prior to it billing, not after it bills, you guys. If you wait till after it bills, you got finance charges, you can get other fees like that. The key is before the credit card bill. So I never pay finance charges, Michael, and I cash in probably $300 to $400 a month just on my credit cards. And again, I'm not paying finance charges because I'm not staying in debt, right?
That's great. Yeah, that's a lot of extra money to bring in every month just from not buying a home. So Travis, I think one of the problems that a lot of people are facing right now when it comes to, should I buy or should I continue renting, is, sometimes it's not all just like dollars and cents. Sometimes it's like psychological, and people are just kind of tired of waiting. And maybe you can kind of speak to that a little bit, because you're probably in the same situation. I'm sure you probably wish you could find the right house right now at the right price, but you can't. And that's keeping you on the sidelines. And I think that's something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
So how do you battle that,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I have anxiety, I get depressed, I feel like, oh, I'm not a great father, I'm not a great husband, because the American dream is home ownership, and I'm renting right now. So what I've done is I've basically I put my attention and my efforts into things that enhance me, right? So instead of wallowing on, oh my gosh, I missed out on an opportunity, things like that, I'm increasing my purchasing power, Michael. My credit is in the 800s. I have no consumer debt. I'm saving a tremendous amount of money. And the biggest thing of all is I'm passing on my knowledge to other people. So instead of me, again, wallowing, dude, we're in an age right now where all you need to do to grow and to learn is decide you want to grow and learn, man. That's it. If you make a decision to grow and learn, look at what's on YouTube. YouTube it's a school. You guys, YouTube is a school. There's so much information that's free. And don't think because it's just free, it's bad information. My home buying class is free, but I put 2 decades of my heart and soul on giving you information that I felt consumers needed to know. So if you're wallowing, if you're stressed, just learn more, empower yourself, love your family, go outside and enjoy the hurricane winds and the rain and, all of this stuff. But one thing, and I see this happening, Michael, I see this happening. Don't give up hope. Do not give up hope, you guys. We're in a society right now where people profit off of consumers that are giving up hope. And by what I mean is, Michael, is giving up hope like, who cares about my credit? Who cares about saving money? I'm never going to be a homeowner, so let's go out to eat. Let's go out to the movies. Let's buy purses and wallets and shoes, and let's stop trying to get ahead of this. If you do that, guys, you're going to be, in my opinion, and I know we don't have a fortune teller, we're not fortune tellers, but you're going to join the rat race. You're going to join the flock of birds, and we want to differentiate ourselves from consumers that are making bad decisions. That's how we win. We win by going against the grain, and it's not hard to tell, Michael, that you shouldn't be living on credit card debt, right? We shouldn't be spending recklessly. We're heading into a recession. Everyone's warning about unemployment, but then the other people are saying everything is great. So when there are times like this with such a divide of opinion and certainty, generally, my God, man, this wind, generally, but generally that means something's broken, something's wrong. And like I said, man, understand that I can't make a bad decision here, Michael, so I'll rent. And that's perfectly okay, it's perfectly okay.
Yeah, also, I'm assuming that in your area where you live, you're probably already seeing the inventory tick up. You're probably already seeing the prices starting to come down, and that starts to make it easier to wait.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to somebody who's in the opposite situation? Say they live somewhere where prices are still going up and inventory is still really low. Do you think they should continue waiting and keep renting still?
I think people in metro areas like that, it's even more important to stay grounded because everything around you is ungrounded. Everything around you has no fundamentals. And honestly, like what Michael was saying, you guys, and this is why I keep trying to push people to the data. Do the data research on your own. Real estate is about subdivision. In my area of Houston, I can find properties, existing homes, not new construction, existing homes, Michael, that have 2021 values.
Wow.
Because I'm using the data. Now, most of it is not, right? But I can find that right now. Plus, new construction in my area is exploding. Again, I can find homes with 2021 prices, interest rates 4.5% right now. But I understand in my area, I'm heavy in construction. The construction spreading to existing, but in areas like Anaheim, in areas like San Diego, the problem there, guys, is that's a result of decades of propping up prices, decades of capitalism, just decades of overvaluation. And in those areas, you're really gonna, in my opinion anyways, in order for you guys to see more affordable places to live, we're gonna need more existing homes to come on the market. And I think that happens, again, as the interest rates continue to go down and the golden handcuff effect gets removed. Because the question is, okay, where'd all the inventory go, right? The bull's thing is, we have low inventory, you guys, it's just supply and demand. Well, where'd it go? Did it just disappear? No, it didn't disappear. People are on the sidelines wanting to sell as well. So again, but the other thing is this, and we have to be realistic. You said this on, earlier today, which was, it really depends on your situation.
Yes.
If I say Hollywood, say Hollywood crashes in prices, Hollywood goes down, say 50%, interest rates drop to 4.5%, I still can't afford that. I still can't afford to live in Hollywood. So you really have to also take a deep look on the area that you're looking in, because not all areas are going to come down to a level of affordability that most people are comfortable with. And that is why the spending habits, the saving habits, how you're living your life is so important, because in a normal housing market, I mean, it's a slam dunk for the most part, owning a house.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point, Travis. And I think that if you live in an area, like Travis said, and even if prices did crash, say it came down by 30%, which by my definition would definitely be a crash, even 20% would be a crash. However, if that happens, and you look at where interest rates are at right now and prices came down by that much, and you still couldn't afford to buy a house, or it would still be cheaper to rent, then maybe it still does make sense to continue renting. And that's why you need to like crunch those numbers for yourself. And it's something that a lot of people just don't do. They look at what the talking heads on TV are saying. Like, for example, this week, Barbara Corcoran just came out again telling people, listen, if you don't buy right now, then you're a fool. Basically what she's telling people.
And I didn't hear, again she came out and said that?
Again, she said that because she says the same thing. You know, her argument is constantly the same, which is that when interest rates come down, that people are going to rush back into the market. However, if we look at what's happening right now with new construction, we can see that that is actually not true, guys, because new construction properties are currently offering people 5% interest rates, sometimes even less in certain cases, and people aren't rushing in to buy. In fact, the inventory is still going up and the prices are still going down, okay?
Yep.
And that's something that we could very well see happen on the existing home market, and the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because of inventory. That's the base case for looking at inventory is going to be exploding. You want to be jumping into a home sale? Do you want to be a buyer right now when, you know, the inventory in your area could be on the verge of continuing to tick up? Because right now, if you look at any inventory chart, inventory throughout the United States is continuing to tick up little by little right now into the winter months, which is something that we really never seen happen before. And so what do you think is going to happen with that, Travis? Because, you know, we're seeing inventory up right now at a time of year when it always goes down, like always. And then right around the corner, we have the spring selling season where inventory always skyrockets. So what do you think is going to happen over the next few months with that?
Well, you know, I think that at least over the next few months, it's really going to depend on what the Federal Reserve does next with interest rates and what type of economic turmoil there is. Obviously, we have a complete meltdown in the commercial financing department. I mean, total meltdown, complete catastrophe. So we still have that playing out, Michael. We still have the STR bans playing out, which is the short-term rentals. All of that stuff is playing out. However, you know, in regards to the interest rates, here's the thing, you know, and we talked about this, drop the rates to 5.5%. Let's see all these buyers. We already know the sellers are going to come out. It's called the golden handcuff effect. But, you know, in my opinion, a lot of the buyers that would normally have come out already purchased. The fear of missing out. I mean, there was a beast rebound this year. So I don't think that the interest rates going down, you know, necessarily, unless everyone, you know, makes more money, unless wages keep going up, I don't think that's going to have a profound effect like it did this year. And it did have a profound effect this year. There was still that FUMA, the fear of missing out there, people on the sidelines. So the slightest decrease in rates, people are like, oh, people rushed out. But the thing is we're at what, a 15-year low of sales transactions? So what, you know, people ran out. The sales are down, it's crashing. So we have crashing sales transactions. We have crashing home prices for new construction. But the premise is this, Michael, for the bulls, okay? Real estate always goes up. Let's talk about it. You know, if we look at 10-year periods, okay, they're right. From 10 years to 10 years, generally, almost always, by the way, real estate goes up in value. What I am trying to warn people is, and what happened to me, I couldn't make it through that 10 years. I purchased during the great financial crisis at peak levels. So when I lost my job, I lost everything, man. And that's the question. And you know, Barbara, raise your hand if you have as much money as Barbara.
Right.
Raise your hand
if you live in NYC like she does.
I mean, she's filthy rich. Risk is not the same thing. Risk to her is profit. Risk to me is losing everything. And that's what I really want people to understand, is that 10-year process. Can we make it through that, you know?
Right. You know, some people would say, oh, why should I listen to you, Travis? You know, why should I listen to somebody who lost everything? And that's a fair point, guys. You can say that and make fun and do all that. But the reality is, you know, when you have somebody who's kind of been down that road before and has already taken that loss and knows what that feels like, you know, and can guide you on how to not make that mistake again, I think it's worth listening, you know. Nobody ever makes the right decisions all the time in life. Nobody's ever perfect, right? So here's the problem. If you're constantly, you know, thinking that you're just going to do everything perfect and you're never going to make a mistake in life, you know, that's unrealistic. So I think it's worth listening to what Travis has to say on that, because who better to learn from than somebody who's already been through it, right? I mean, that's kind of,
bro, I mean,
I look at it.
Michael, I certainly paid my dues. People are like, oh, you had a bankruptcy, so you got to just walk away. No, I didn't, man. That stuff followed me around for 9 years, and I struggled even more after the bankruptcy. So the thing is, you know, I get it. Okay, people knock me all the time. Oh, who's this guy? Da, 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 da. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. But I could tell you guys this for sure. Okay, I know exactly what not to do. I have a 2.5% rate on a residence right now that has $150,000 in equity. Okay, but on top of that, yeah, bankruptcy, foreclosure, repo. But I'm also been licensed in real estate, boots on the ground, front of the line, in the ditches, learning about real estate, understanding consumers. That's why I have, in my opinion at least, I have a right to say these things, man. I've helped over 1,000, probably more like 2,000 consumers, whether they qualify for a home at that time or not. I was the guy in the office, Michael, that never turned my back on anyone. If someone came to me and said, Travis, I want to buy a house, I would show them how, right? Get out of consumer debt, save your money, get an authorized user, you know, just various plans. So yeah, I had some problems, man. And you know what? I think overall though, my transparency, people are going to understand that what I'm saying is genuine. People are going to understand maybe I should listen to him, because we don't want to go through what I went through. And that was a very dark time in my life, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure back then when you did buy, Travis, and when you were going through this economic euphoria that a lot of people are experiencing right now, I'm sure you didn't think back then that you were going to lose it all. You didn't think that there was going to be a housing crash. You didn't think you're going to lose your job. You always thought you're going to be able to make the payment, right?
Yep.
Because that's what everybody focuses on. People focus on, can I make the payment? You know, and that's the other thing with renting right now, guys. If you can't make the payment, worst case scenario, you move out before you get evicted. You know, if you can't make the payment on your house, you get foreclosed on, and you know your credit is screwed up for a long time, and forget about buying another house anytime soon.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you lose all the equity, you lose the down payment you have into the house. So there's a lot to lose right now. It's kind of the biggest argument for just being patient, I think. And let's be honest, guys, like, you know, even when you own your own house, let's say you have no mortgage, you own free and clear, you always have to pay somebody, including the county tax assessor, right? If you have an HOA, you always have to pay that. So even if you own your house free and clear, you always are going to have a payment. So it's kind of like you're always renting from somebody, whether it's the bank when you have your mortgage. After that's done, you're still going to be renting from the county. And if you don't think you're renting from the county, try not paying your property taxes and see what happens, you know? So it's kind of like this thing, you know, people have this idea that if they don't buy a house, then they're never going to be able to get ahead financially, which is just not true. But the problem is, I think most people, they're not very good at saving. They're not very good at investing. And so that's kind of why this narrative is often pushed, like, you know, home ownership is one of the biggest sources of wealth for most people, because it's one of the only ways they're kind of forced to save, right?
Yep.
If they're not investing the difference when they're renting and making extra money like you are right now, investing your down payment, then you're actually still losing. For people like that, then I think it is true that it's probably smarter to be a homeowner in the long run. So you need to kind of know yourself and know your own financial habits as well to see if you're somebody that can get ahead as a renter, you know? That's important too. I mean, that's what happened to me. I was able to get ahead as a renter. Ultimately, I became a homeowner because I was a renter, you know? Like, that's what people need to understand. I mean, if you can save a substantial amount of money renting and you can put it towards buying a house later, why not do it? I don't see why not, guys. That seems to be a no-brainer to me.
I mean, honestly, Michael, like, I've thought about that. I'm like, why do so many people, well, a lot of people are getting it, but why do so many people not get it? And if we really look at the adult population that's working right now, and we etch out millennials, and I'm like the oldest spectrum of millennial right now, so I'm in that category. But if we really look at millennials have never went through anything like this before. Adult millennials, most of them have only seen values go up. So when you see Ramsey and Barbara and the government saying it's okay, keep buying, you're stupid if you don't, I understand why the lack of, in my opinion, and I got to use this carefully, but comprehension. And not only that, most millennials have never went through an unemployment phenomenon. Okay, like I went through an unemployment phenomenon. Most millennials and young adults right now, Michael, they're getting begged to work for a company.
Right.
They're getting a sign-up bonus. Like, that is so crazy to me. And I've been, and I tell people all the time, like, when I was looking for a job, especially during the great financial crisis, my resume was 6 pages, smelled like lavender, extra thick matte, with letters of recommendation, with a cover letter, and I still couldn't get a job. So this whole like, oh, please work for me, I've never seen anything like that. In fact, if I had a company and someone had that attitude, you're gone. It's not normal. So I worry that basically the younger you are, the more probable it is that you get blindsided. That's what happened to me. I was in my early 20s and it was my bad decisions, but I kept my head in the sand. But that's a testimony too, Michael. I was a loan officer and realtor during the great financial crisis. And I remember hearing all this stuff on the radio, and I'm like, nah, who cares? I'm just gonna keep working. And I kept, as a professional, my head in the sand until the crisis was knocking at my door. And by then, it was just too late for me.
Here's the thing, guys. If you're being constantly recommended to buy a house, like, who's recommending it? Like, who is saying that you should do it? Barbara Corcoran, Dave Ramsey, these guys have big economic interests in you buying a home right now. If you're being recommended by your mortgage broker or real estate agent that you should do it, they also have obviously an economic interest in you doing it. Well, what does your interest say? Like, what is your interest in doing this? That's kind of what you need to evaluate as well, because pushing people that can barely afford a home into owning one is a recipe for financial disaster. That's the reality. And I'm afraid that so many people are going to kind of take the bait on that, especially as things don't happen on the timeline people are expecting it to. Like, we haven't seen a severe recession yet. We haven't seen home prices come down substantially in many areas throughout the country yet. And that kind of goes back to what we started off with this video. Like, people are tired of waiting. And I think some people are just going to give up and say, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to jump in. I don't care what these guys say on YouTube. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm just going to do it because I'm afraid that if I don't, I'll never be able to. And unfortunately, I think that's one of the worst outlooks to have when it comes to buying, especially a home. People do all kinds of research when they buy some stupid, $200 item on Amazon or whatever, but nobody wants to put in the effort and the legwork to decide if it's a good time to buy a house. I mean, it's just kind of crazy.
It is crazy.
Moving away from that real quick, Travis, one thing I wanted to talk to you about is, that's the other thing we're seeing right now. We're seeing the amount of refinancing kind of shoot through the roof.
Yes.
Not with new purchases,
right?
Because these rates have been going down. It went from like 8% mortgage rates down to a little around 7% right now.
Yeah.
In about a month's time. That's
right.
A pretty big drop.
Yes.
But here's the funny thing. 90% of people that have a mortgage have an interest rate below 6%.
Yeah.
So why are these people refinancing right now?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because honestly, people are like, oh, it's time, the rates are going down. But it's cash out. It's not rate and term, it's cash out refinancing. And that's an indicator that people are distressed, that have ownership interest. And I want you guys to also know that the average cash out amount is $104,000. The average increase of interest rate from cash, from their existing loan into the new loan, their interest rate's going up 2.5%. That means that the buyers prior to 2022 that got these amazing deals, really, really affordable houses, those are the people that are refinancing cash out. They're getting $104,000 to try to keep up with the rat race, more than likely, okay? And when you're doing that, people you don't understand, you guys. When I lost everything, right before I lost everything, I had the worst spending habits of my life. Worst spending habits of my life, and then boom, I lost everything. So what people are doing is, again, they're just trying to keep up with the Joneses, and now they've just increased their mortgage payment by probably $1,000 a month.
Right.
And that's a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Refinancing, okay, it can be okay depending on what you do with the money, but most people, man, they're really burning themselves, and they have to start the amortization schedule again. They have to pay all the front-loaded interest again. I mean, it's way more expensive than what people are realizing if they're just doing a refinance, cashing out. But that's a sign people are in distress, man.
Not only is it a sign that people are in distress, but here's the thing. Those people are probably banking on the fact that home prices will continue to go up in the future, and then another 5 or 6 years, whatever, they want to do another cash out refinance and take more of that equity out of the house, and they're hoping that interest rates will be lower by then. But then they're going to be in a situation like Travis was before. Can you hang on? Are you going to be able to afford that extra $1,000 a month for the next 5 years, along with all the other increase in the cost of living that people are experiencing right now? And so that's the biggest problem, guys. And you know, people who are doing these refinancings right now, I personally think those are going to be the foreclosures of tomorrow. And I mean, I don't mean literally tomorrow, but you know, in 3 to 5 years from now, a lot of these people are probably going to end up in foreclosure, especially if home prices go down in their area, right? Because they're going to be upside down on their mortgage. They're not going to be able to sell for a profit if they need to. And then next thing you know, either going to stop paying and go into foreclosure, or they're going to go into short sale. Yep. And that's a huge potential source of inventory in the future that we're not even seeing right now, even though inventory is going up. Yeah. So there's a lot of things you need to take into consideration with, oh my God, should I just jump in and stop renting right now? Because those people are the ones who kind of did that. They went from being a renter to owning a house, and now they're getting hit with all these expenses of owning a house that they didn't expect. They're taking the equity out of the house to pay for their bills, but what happens when the equity is gone and there's no more equity to pull from? Yeah. This is the issue.
Yeah, and now their payment's $1,000 higher.
Right.
You know?
That can't go on forever. You cannot continue on that path forever. You're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of, you know, credit cards. You're going to run out of ways to pay for things, and then it's financial ruin. I don't understand why anybody would want to go into that. Now, if you're somebody that, you know, have a lot of money saved up, and you know, you can afford to buy easily in your area, that's a different story, guys. And I don't even think people like that are going to be watching this video anyways, right? People who are watching this are on the brink, right? They're on the brink of, you know, my rent just went up $200 again, you know, but it's still a little bit cheaper than owning a house, or it's close to the same, you know, and these guys keep saying prices are going to go down, but it's still going up, and I don't really know what to do. You know, those are the people who I think are vulnerable right now to this situation and are kind of on the verge of giving up. Neither Travis or I can tell you exactly what to do, but I wanted to have Travis on the channel today to give you guys the insight of what it's like to go through that, and you know, what could potentially happen, you know, because there can be some major downside to this if you make the wrong decision. Travis, you know, what would you tell people in this situation, you know, just giving like a wrap-up statement here of, you know, people who are just feeling a little bit lost right now and want to jump in, but they just kind of feel on the fence?
Escape the rat race. Be happy with your life. I mean, you don't have to own a house to be a good husband, wife, father, mother. Get it out of your head. Get the brainwashing out of your head and write down your goals. So, you know, you don't want to be stuck on the sideline and, you know, basically be waiting for this magical word crash. It's crashing. You want to understand what your goals are right now. And you want to be saving as much money, getting, you know, good credit. But again, man, please just do your own thinking. Escape the rat race. Write down your goals. Understand what a great deal looks like. When you find a great deal, go get it, right?
Yes.
But don't overextend yourself and use your emotions to purchase real estate. The realtors and the investors are banking on you making emotional decisions.
I totally agree. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, Travis. It's always a pleasure seeing you and having you on, man. You came all the way here from Texas just to see me, so really appreciate the effort there. And you guys should go check out his channel. He's over at Real Estate Mindset on YouTube. And If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Go check out Travis's channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.